Every year when 2K is in the process of promoting the newest game, we always see pretty much the same cycle. We see 1 or 2 trailers that don't really give us much of anything, maybe some new animations. And then when it's time for the community meetup, when they fly all the YouTubers out to wherever they play the game at, that's when we see the big selling point. And that's what today's video is about. Every 2K selling point from NBA 2K11 all the way up until now in 2K18. So without any further ado, let's get into it. 2K11 had 1.5 big selling points. It had 1.5. The big one was the return of Michael Jordan to basketball games, because before that, the last basketball game that Michael Jordan was in was, I think, NBA Street Volume 1. Yeah, I think, yeah, he wasn't in NBA Live, he wasn't in 2K. They didn't have the rights to use him in the game. So 2K11 finally brought back the GOAT, and in that game, they tailored the game around his return. They had the Michael Jordan mode where you had to do the Jordan challenges, I think that's what it was called. The Jordan challenges. They also had the mode where you can take control of young Jordan and play through his career on any team that you want to. But the 0.5 is the fact that 2K11, they were heavily pushing the fact that they had a revamped My Career mode in which you had to talk to the press now and all of that. But using Michael Jordan as a selling point must have been a great idea because the game sold well. And to this day, there are people who still say that 2K11 is the best 2K of all time. With 2K12, it's kind of weird, bro. They didn't really have a selling point. In 2K12, they changed up the My Career a little bit. You know, they made some improvements to the My Career. But really, their big selling point was literally just they were bringing back historic teams. That's what, like, all of the trailers was like, hey, look, you can play in black and white now. You can play with Bill Russell. You can play with Wilt Chamberlain. You can play with Gail Goodrich. Why did I say Gail Goodrich? But literally the legends and the fact that they changed the dribbling in 2K12, which the changing of the dribbling in 2K12 wasn't like something that everybody was talking about. It was more of having the legends. Like, that was the big selling point, was the legends. That's crazy that really 2K12, they didn't have nothing really to sell us on, but they managed to do well anyway. And 2K13 is infamous for the creation of VC, or virtual currency. They didn't use virtual currency as a selling point, or, well, they kind of did. They was like, oh, you can buy clothes now. You can wear clothes with your player, and you can play on the black top. I forgot to mention one of the most important selling points of NBA 2K13, and that was the fact that you could play with the 2013 or the 2012 USA team versus the Dream Team, which was at the time, like, the big debate was like, oh, can the Kobe, LeBron, Durant, Melo team beat the Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird team? I don't know why I used that voice, but yeah, that and my team were the big selling points for NBA 2K13 and VC. And 2K14 had 2 very strong selling points. One, an all-new cinematic My Career experience. That was the first My Career that had, all of the cutscenes and everything. And people were really hyped about that because it was like, oh, it's like you're playing a movie, but you could play basketball too. Come to find out, a few years later, I'd be annoyed by it. Crazy how the world works. And their second really strong selling point was the introduction of the park. 2K14 was one of those games that, like, it looked too good to be true. Like, when the game came out, I was one of those people, like, I didn't have a PlayStation 4, I didn't have an Xbox One. I was still rocking with my Xbox 360, so I had the trash version of the game. Like, on Xbox 360, like, even today, you can get NBA 2K18 on Xbox 360, but it's the same game as NBA 2K13. It's literally the same game. So back then, in my eyes, 2K14 was like, this game is too good to be real. There's no way this game looks like this. The 2K15 selling point, I remember this. I remember thinking, like, what's new in this game? Like, they're not telling me nothing. Like, what's new in this game besides the graphics? Because in the commercials, the selling points was we got YouTubers in the commercials now. And I guess at the time that was really cool to, like, people who were really into, like, the 2K community. At that time, I wasn't. I would, like, play 2K. I would not watch no 2K videos. Like, the only 2K videos that I was watching at that time were literally Chris Moves. So seeing the YouTubers in the commercial, I was like, yo, who are these dudes? Who are these guys? I don't know these guys. So if you were to ask me, I would tell you the selling point for 2K15 was just having YouTubers in the commercial. But I guess if I had to choose something, I would say The new parks, like I think they introduced affiliations in 2K15. 2K16 selling point was literally the fact that, oh, we got Spike Lee to direct a movie for my career, and you get to play it. Like that was it. That was really just it. 2K17's biggest selling point was, once again, the my career. You know, they was really gassing the orange juice thing with Michael B. Jordan. So looking back at the 2K17 trailers, bro, they didn't have no selling points, bro. They don't. I promise you they don't. They made a 2K team trailer, Time to Assemble, when they had all the guys from the 2K team, like Kevin Durant and Jimmy Butler and Karl Anthony Towns and all of those guys. They had to all like come together with Coach K, and it was just like for a commercial. What does that have to do about the game, bro? What does that have to do with the game at all? Oh, and I remember they tried to trick us into thinking that we could play with the national team, but like, you know, like maybe play an entire summer tournament with them, or maybe play in FIBA or just something with the national team. But in actuality, we played against Australia for one game with the college version of our player, basically. So yeah, 2K17 didn't have a sell point. 2K18 had the most obvious selling point of all time, and at the time it did its job, because literally they unveiled it live and everybody lost their mind. Like, I'm talking about, of course, the neighborhood. When they unveiled it at the 2K event, I remember seeing videos of everybody in the place being like, yo, you know, Grand Theft 2K, but it didn't turn out to be as awesome as we would have hoped, you know. The neighborhood was obviously 2K's baby, because once 2K18 came out, they were so focused on having us enjoy the neighborhood, they didn't put no more content in the game the rest of the year. And honestly, I can understand, because who needs gameplay and content when you got all this sandbox and emptiness? Like, come on, bro. How could you not have fun in the neighborhood? I guess I'll be doing a disservice to Team 2K if I didn't mention the fact they also promoted the all-time teams. They did trailers for that, you know. And I'm aware that there are things that I'm missing. Like, of course, every year they do a video for my team. They do separate videos for, like, my career things. But we talking about the big selling point. The one big thing that they use to try and get everyone's attention. And while almost every feature gets its own trailer, not every one of those trailers and not every one of those features are supposed to be, like, the biggest selling point. So let me know what y'all think about this down below in the comments. Did I miss anything significant? Did I make something a selling point that wasn't the biggest selling point? What do y'all think? Let me know. So if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And as always, I'm DbrownShinhan, and I'm up out of here.
All these people heads are hollow, only wanna be accepted, so they try to make an image that is soulless, disconnected. To the day I stand corrected, I will fight with the viciousness. Years from now you'll laugh cause you witnessed this. Tell you why I spit like this, cause I don't give a fuck. Way too many told me no until I felt like I was stuck, but I rose. So happy with the path that I chose. They call me Mariano cause I'm bringing every game to a close now.